Hey, good afternoon, everybody. This is Lola Moore Johnston, and I'm joining you from my Bloom platform, which I haven't been on in probably about 2 years. So the fact that you guys are joining is so fun and so incredible. If you get a chance, go ahead and share this with somebody else. I want to talk with you today, have a conversation about something that has been happening in our society in the past, 48 hours. I want to talk a little bit about the conversation that Monique, the artist and comedian, had with Shannon Sharpe. We've been having a lot of conversation about it in a couple of posts that I've made, and I thought that this might be a great opportunity to jump in and talk with you live. If you don't know about Bloom, Bloom is a platform that we use to help women to unearth their godly potential and to become all that they've been created to be. And so this conversation felt like an incredible one to have. And so you can go ahead and say hi in the chat. I'd love to see you, love to say hi, and would love to have you share. And so I wanted to start today by asking a question of myself and of you. On your lunch break, I hope you have something to eat and are having a great day. The question is this: why do other people's trauma and the stories about that trauma bother us so much? Why is it so triggering when someone else tells their story? So we've been talking about Monique, and for maybe the last 10 years, Monique has been embroiled in trauma and triggers. There's several people who we've known Monique to be in challenging relationships with. And as this story came out with her having conversation with Shannon Sharpe, several people that I have watched and listened to have shared that this is the same story she's been telling for 10 years. She's not saying anything new. This is something we've heard before. When is she going to say something new? And so I wanted to ask that initial question of myself and of someone else. Maybe you can share in the chat. Why is it so triggering to us as other people share their experiences? And I want to say, even if the sharing of that story is something that we've heard before, why do we require novelty from people who have been traumatized? Now, I come to you as a person who has been on the other side of being believed, who has been disbelieved before. And I've had the unfortunate experience of trying to tell other people about what it is that I have experienced. And unfortunately, again, I was not believed. And so as I tried to stuff that story down, there was something on the inside of me that felt that I was betraying me by not sharing that story until I had justice. And it took a long time for me to tell it until someone finally believed me. And so there's a part of me that resonates with that desire to be heard, not just for someone to register, through their ears what I'm saying, but I mean to be heard and believed. So I kind of see why somebody would be telling their story over and over again. And it is interesting that because the story has been told before, whether or not the individual has received justice, we want them to stop talking about it. So y'all can go ahead and talk about it in the chat. Why is it that we require people who have been triggered and traumatized to tell new stories? Like, wouldn't it make sense for someone who has been wronged to tell the story of their wrong for as long as it needs to be told until the situation was rectified? And I think that this is an injustice that we participate in when we get sick of people telling their wrong. We get tired of people sharing how they have been done wrong. And so watch this. We know that the arm of justice is slow. And we know that it usually requires a lot of time. and a lot of discomfort in order for justice to be given. Like, I don't know. You can put a one in the chat if you have ever been in an experience where it took a long time for you to receive the justice that you were due. It required lots of conversations. It may have required some litigation. I mean, even something that you deal with in court takes a long time in order to get, to get right. So watch this. So if a person has not even been given the opportunity to be heard in court, or maybe they were heard in court, and because of the justice system, that which we know is not always a positive experience, they didn't receive the justice that they were due, then people find themselves in a position where they are still having to advocate for themselves. And I think that that's the first thing I want to say, that a person should not be penalized for advocating for themselves. And until we come to that position as a society, then we will always have people who are languishing in the shadows. They're always languishing in the dark places because our tolerance, right, has run out for them, for their advocacy. And I hope that those who have been in a position where you have needed someone to advocate for you, or you have wanted someone to advocate for you, can at least agree that we should be able to advocate for the justice of a situation to be fully meted out until it happens. If that takes 5 years, if that takes 10 years, that we do not turn down the volume on someone's self-advocacy. And I think that that is one of the most challenging parts of this experience, is that we're watching someone advocate for themselves. And because they have been advocating for themselves a while, we have said as a society, time is up. Man, that's crazy. I think that that is absolutely crazy for us to blow the whistle on someone else doing whatever they have to do in order to get justice for themselves. Now, can I say the second thing is, and I see y'all in the chat, I'm about to start engaging y'all. I just don't want to forget what I'm going to say. I think the second thing is that we as a society tend to only support the self-advocacy of people we like. And if a person has been wronged, but they are not liked, then we as a society smother their self-advocacy efforts. And I think that that is wrong. I think that that is absolutely wrong. I think that is fundamentally wrong, because watch this. It usually requires a person being okay with not being liked in order to tell the truth. Come on in here. How many times have we stopped ourselves from even saying someone has something on their face or something on their shoe, a stain on their clothes that somehow someone has found themselves dribbling, or they found themselves smelling foul, and we will not say a word because we don't want to create an uncomfortable situation. You have to have a certain comfort with being disliked in order to tell the truth. You have to be okay with somebody misunderstanding you. You have to be okay with people not being on your side in order to tell the truth. And we know that for the times that we have tried to stand up and tell the truth and it didn't go so well. Come on, you can go ahead and tell the truth right now. How many times have we said in a meeting, I'm not going to say anything? You know that what's happening is wrong. You know the numbers are not accurate. You know that the plan will fail. But because you want to be liked, you don't say a word. And if we know our tendency to stop ourselves from telling the truth because we don't want to be disliked, then we have to also call out our own efforts to smother someone else advocating for themselves because we don't like them. Oh my gosh. How many times have we allowed a child to be abused because we don't think they're beautiful? And y'all not gonna say it in the chat. That's okay. But let's go ahead on and tell the truth that even our efforts around protecting children are limited by our belief that that child is likable, that that child is attractive, that that child is nice, that that child comes from a good family. We are flawed. And I think that we have to check ourselves before we go about checking other people, because a lot of the situations that are going on right now with people advocating for themselves are not the system trying to oppress them. The system doesn't even have to kick in because we got it. We as a community smother their efforts before the system can even be properly confronted. Man, oh man. Wow, oh my goodness. So watch this. So Miss Barbara says this: while some of us may have heard the same story multiple times, it may be a breakthrough for somebody else, and that's real. Just because I have heard this story more than once doesn't mean that everybody has heard this story. And listen, sometimes it's not me that needs to hear it. This retelling is not for me. It's for somebody who's actually going to do something. And listen, and you got to throw that seed out there as long and as often as is required until you get to somebody who is going to do something about it. Listen, even the Bible talks about the unjust judge, and the fact that Jesus uses this parable with a woman who gets on the judge's last nerve. I mean, she will not be deterred. She goes over and over and over and over again to this judge in order to seek justice before the judge will move his hand. Like, we understand that this is going to get under people's skin. But watch this. The person who truly receives advocacy, who actually gets justice, is an individual who is willing to do whatever it takes for as long as it takes in order to get justice. Okay, let's go. You know, I realize, man, oh man, she's saying a pastor once told my husband that he should stop sharing the same testimony about being a cancer survivor. Ouch, man. So here we are, right? As a community, I have to admit, I have not been in any of the conversations that Monique has had about her situation. I've never met Tyler Perry. I've never met Kevin Hart. I've never met Oprah Winfrey. I've never met D.L. Hewley or any of the people who she has named as a part of the podcast. I have not even met Monique. I do not know all of the inner workings of everything that has happened and all of the things that have transpired around her. But I do know one thing, that Monique has the right to advocate for herself for as long as she needs to advocate for herself until justice has been done. In her words, until people take accountability for what it is that has been done. And listen, and when I try with my approval, with my platform to stifle her advocating for herself, I am wrong. Point blank, period. I am wrong when I stifle someone else's effort to advocate for themselves. I don't have to see the light in it. I don't have to understand. I do not have to be in her shoes. I do not have to be in her family. If someone else is advocating for themselves, mind your business. And yes, she's doing it publicly, because as she does it publicly, watch this, then eventually somebody who can do something about it will hear it and do. Watch this. Who knew that she actually had a recording of Tyler Perry admitting that when Tyler Perry said she was hard to work with, he was lying? Who knew that? I didn't know. Did you know? Now somebody else might know. I didn't know. And to see how of millions of dollars were withheld with her because Tyler Perry lied. Now, how do I say that so earnestly? Because I went and listened to the recording myself. And I heard Tyler Perry admit that he put out a word on her that she was hard to work with because he was trying to get her to work for free and she said no. Now, come on here, saints. Let's just go ahead and pause and talk about the fact that when somebody wants us to work overtime, but they're not going to give us overtime pay, we say absolutely not. When somebody is asking us to come and just do something, so I see Chris McNish in my comments, so that we can get exposure. They're gonna give us a plate of food for the work, and we say no. Right there, right now we wrong because we don't. Right, so watch this. If I went and work for free, which I don't work for free, why do you expect her to work for free? Do you know that there's some people who, just like they said to Taraji P. Henson, are saying to Monique, shut up because of how much money you are making. You should be quiet. Excuse me. Don't we know that the amount of our bills swell to the amount of our income? And if somebody has a multi-million-dollar income, that they're not paying our bills, our 5 and 6 figure bills, that they have multi-million-dollar bills that rise to the amount. So why can't she advocate to get paid in accordance with the amount of input that is required for her to make that paycheck? Come on, let's be honest. I know what I make, and I understand that what I make is actually connected with what I paid to go to school. I didn't just wake up one day and decide that I was going to be a pastor. No, I have had 5, 6, 7, 8 years of post-high school education. I had to pay for every day of those 8 years in order to be qualified to do what I do. So how you going to expect me to work for free or work for a discount when I'm still paying back the loans that were a part of me doing what I'm doing right now? No. There is an opportunity cost to this. And let me just go ahead on and say that it's wrong for us to shut somebody else up from their self-advocacy because we are jealous of what it is that they have. That's wrong. That's wrong. I'm sorry. It's wrong for you to try to tell somebody else they need to shut up because what they're going to get out of it is larger than anything that you will get. Come on, that's hating. We know that's wrong. Okay, all right, I'm going to keep on going. But listen, that's wrong. And we as a community need to go ahead on and look in the mirror and say that we are wrong for standing in the way of someone else telling their story and advocating for themselves. That's wrong. And I don't care how long it goes. Listen, it's wrong. And the fact that she is able to back what she's dealing with up with receipts that we didn't know existed should garner with it an apology. But you know what people are doing? People are doubling down, 10 toes down, because they don't like Monique. And that's wrong. I'm sorry, that's wrong. Listen, D.L. Hughley, it used to, let me just go ahead on. D.L. Hughley and the energy he is showing coming at somebody else's wife, that used to get you met in the alley. I don't know how anybody is okay with that grown man coming at a grown woman like that. That used to be fighting words all the way. And the fact that he feels comfortable coming all the way out talking to a woman, somebody else's wife like that, should tell you that he knows that the community ain't gonna do nothing like that. There used to be a code. There used to be a code about the way that a man would handle a woman. And outside of a woman punching another man in the face, then how does he feel comfortable? How does he feel comfortable talking to a woman like that? Because we made it okay. We gave the green light to DL Hughley to talk to Monique any kind of way because of how we felt about her advocating for herself. So because she's a big woman, we saying, go ahead, go at her. Go at her. It's okay. You can treat her any kind of way. And I think that says a lot about us as a community. How do we feel comfortable with this man talking to this woman? I mean, he done called her Emma F. I mean, he done cussed her all the way out. Talk about she not loved. She not with her family. Now, watch this. She not with her family. Nobody don't love her, right? But they all complaining about her husband being there. But Tyler Perry is saying that they can't have a conversation with her husband there. So she must be loved some kind of way if they all have this discomfort with her husband being there because he has a little bit too much energy as he's advocating for his wife. But what husband watching me right now could hear his wife being addressed as an MF? She a lion, so-and-so, she fat, she black, she ugly, don't nobody love her. What man you know is gonna be okay with that? Cause it's Monique? Cause Monique is raunchy? Because she's fat? Because y'all, wow. This whole situation, y'all, I think should really call us to a moment of awareness with the reality that the average Black woman is walking throughout the world unprotected. These women are listening to what is happening to Monique, and we are saying within ourselves, we got to make sure that we likable in order to tell the truth. And let's make sure that we don't tell too much truth, because if we start telling the truth too long, then people are going to get tired of us. Oh my God, the Black woman is out here unprotected. And before you go and say anything to me about the fact Monique ain't the average Black woman, then I want you to go and just do your statistical work on how many Black women die every day because of the microaggressions that we feel from this society. The society that says that we're not worth much because we're female. That's a society that will turn about and say the same thing because we're Black, because of the way our hair is styled, because we're single, because we're married, because of who we married to, how long we've been married, because of our size. The Black woman is under an existential threat right now because of this nonsense right here. And to find out that Monique was telling the truth the whole time. But Al Sharpton wouldn't go in for her because Tyler Perry gave him a ride on a jet. Because Kevin Hart didn't want to have his bag messed with. Because Oprah and because Tyler Perry have a grip on the Black community in Hollywood in such a way that everybody's afraid of them. They're the only ones giving out jobs on a consistent basis. And so everybody does not want to mess with them. Like, listen, the Black woman is under attack. And y'all out here talking about why she's not married and why she's not lovable and why people don't want to deal with her. And you don't realize that you're part of the problem right now. Listen. Apparently God is calling me back to my platform to start fighting. And apparently this is a conversation we need to have. And I would love to see what you got to say in the chats. But I mean, I'm trying to say, when you see that Netflix actually settled with her, had to pay this woman a settlement and give her a special, because they were not negotiating with her in good faith, then come on, listen. We gotta say she was, at least the court thought she was telling the truth. When you realize that she has a recording of Tyler Perry being honest, finally, privately, in a place that he thought was a safe space, that he lied on her. And isn't there a current issue with one of the Tyler Perry actors saying that he was sexually assaulted by a powerful man in Hollywood? What powerful man this man been working for? What is it, Christian something? Isn't there a story out there that he was sexually assaulted by somebody in that camp? So if sexual assault of this man happened on his watch, even if it wasn't him, it happened on his watch, then why wouldn't he also be okay with destroying this woman's career? And we giving solace to these people? Wasn't Oprah cool with Harvey Weinstein? Wasn't that her boy? She didn't know nothing about what was happening to these women under his watch. Well, what's up with us? I can't do nothing with Oprah. I can't do nothing with Tyler Perry. I don't know him. I never met him before. I may never meet them in the future. But I can do something about this little circle right here and call us to a place where we ask ourselves some questions about how we treat people who are telling their story and advocating for themselves. Number one, if somebody is advocating for themselves, I'm minding my business. Listen, I don't know nothing about the wrong. I may know something about the wrong, but I am not going to be the reason why somebody does not get their justice. Like I'm not going to be the reason. And God help me for the times in the past if somebody has used me to be the reason why somebody else didn't get their just desserts. Jesus, God forgive me. But we got to stop being okay with helping people not get what they deserve. And you may not even know or if they deserve X, Y, and Z, but man, at least don't stand in the way of somebody getting what they're asking for. Okay, I'm here in the chat. Edward Smith, how you doing, sir? When disrespect becomes normalized in society, it erodes trust, civility, and empathy. It can lead to increased conflict, aggression, and polarization among individuals and groups. People may feel devalued and marginalized, leading to fractured relationships and communities. Additionally, a culture of disrespect can hinder cooperation, compromise, and progress, ultimately undermining social harmony and well-being. Unfortunately, what DL and others are doing has been accepted. Yes. So what should our role be? This is a great question. Can I make a few suggestions? And I'm going to go to a couple other places and I'm going to return you to your work for the day. Number one, I'm at least not going to be an obstacle. Okay. One, if I see someone else advocating for themselves, I'm not going to be an obstacle. I'm not going to be the person who they have to get over or around in order to receive what they are asking for. Number one. Number two, I'm going to search myself and my resources to see if I can be of help. Okay. Can I assist this person in getting what they are asking for? Now, sometimes that is challenging in a corporate setting, based upon what it is that you are contractually expected to do. But I would say in the beginning, at least don't be the weapon or don't be the obstacle that somebody has to get over or around in order to receive justice. I think that another thing that you can do, number three, is to simply believe them, right? Or simply allow them a space where they can express what it is that they want to express. And there are ways to do this in ways that are safe, in ways that are responsible, without becoming because there's some spaces where people can share and the way that they're broken, the way that they are challenged, we realize that we may not be the best person to be in that space. I'm trying to say that the right way. But at least help this person to get to a space where they can talk to somebody and speak to someone in a responsible way to get the help that they need, the help that they deserve. Don't be the obstacle. See if you can help. And I really think that we all, as a human function, want to be believed. And so choose to believe the person right? And believing a person does not mean that you necessarily have to be all on the wagon with them, like as a ongoing participant in their story. But you at least believe them and give them the dignity of not, insinuating that they're lying, that they have to prove to you, that they have to give receipts in order for you to be on board with them. I think that is dehumanizing, that Monique actually knew she had to record Tyler Perry and provide those recordings to people in order to be believed. And you know what's wild is, even though she had played that recording for several people, even Shannon Sharpe had a hard time giving veracity to the fact that Tyler Perry actually said from his mouth he was lying, because they all have something to lose themselves. So I think that those are some things that we can do. Miss Lisa, hello, Miss Lisa. An apology is never as loud and public as the accusation. I know that that's right. Oh my goodness. Gabrielle Hart, hey, that's my homegirl. I don't understand why they didn't want her husband at the meetings to discuss anything. Oh, it makes all the sense in the world, though, because her husband was advocating for her fiercely. He was getting right at Tyler Perry, and Tyler Perry was having to back down. He was having to be humble in a way. The husband was not speaking to Tyler Perry in the gentle way that Tyler Perry would prefer. And so he didn't want the husband there, because he felt like the husband was too aggressive. Ain't that something? He would rather sit and talk to a woman by herself rather than talk man to man. That should tell you something right there. Okay. Barbara Saunders says, we fight everything every day with microaggressions of this world. We should not have to fight each other. Ooh. Oh my goodness. Sabrina Rose says, at what point do we start to value a person's heart over the perks and benefits from a friendship or alliance? Yeah, that's real. That's real. That's real. Listen, so here I am. I know y'all got to go back to work and get ready for the weekend. I need to do the same thing, but I did want to at least provide some conversation, at least a space to converse. And I want to do this more often. I realize that these conversations are needed. And so I ask for your prayers for bandwidth and time to foster these conversations. And I want to speak to, for the next few seconds, a person who has not been believed, a person who has been tired of advocating for themselves. And I just want to apologize to you for the way that we, as a society, have placed the onus of, or the burden of proof on you to prove your trauma, to prove the wrong that has happened to you before we will help you. I just think that's been terrible. I'm so sorry that you had to go through that. And I'm striving with my little platform to create a space where you don't have to prove that you were X, Y, and Z in order to be believed and supported. That even if you just felt wronged, that we can create a space where you can articulate yourself and find the help that is needed. Man, it's a work that we all need to do together, and I'm hoping that you'll join me in that work. Man, we're going to come with some more things in the next few weeks. But if this conversation has been meaningful for you, if it's a conversation starter for something that you want to talk about with your family and your friends, I am willing to be that catalyst for conversation. But man, let's keep talking about how we can be a needed, a helpful support to those advocating for themselves. And man, I'll try to meet you in a week or so again here at the lunch table. Man, have a good weekend. Please, please go ahead and put your thoughts in the comments. I would love to hear from you. I love to talk with you about it. And let's see how we can make this a safe space for those who have been triggered and traumatized. Help them to have a better future. All right, y'all take care.